Appreciate you both being here. I appreciate your leadership. I congratulate both the commander and the command chief for a wonderful career, and you've been wonderful to work with. All my questions are directed more to General Clark. Your ops tempo was high, is high, and will be high. And yet, if I understand right, the budget for SOCOM is flatlined. Is that the case? It's a flatline budget, you're getting zero increase?
That's correct in the requested budget at this point.
Right. And yet we have 8.5% inflation. So that works to about an 8.5% cut to your budget. So you've touched on this a little bit with the previous questions, but what is an 8.5% cut to your budget? How does that affect the future of SOCOM? And what are those impacts?
It really goes to speed and how quickly can we modernize. And so we have to make tough decisions. We have to balance to still conduct the missions that we have going forward and prepare and train. And we're gonna do that within the budget we have, but I think it goes to the speed that we can modernize, and we look at some of our adversaries and how quickly they are modernizing, and that's we may not keep pace with the capabilities that we need to develop.
But by definition, with an 8.5% inflation and a flatline budget, this is a reduction for SOCOM. I just think we got to be clear about that. And the budget overall was a 4% increase for DoD, but domestic non-military spending was 12% increase. So we see the priority of the administration here. Non-military domestic spending 12%, military 4%, with inflation at 8.5%. And the budget for DoD overall was inadequate, and I think you're paying even a bigger price on there. So I just wanted to make that clear. Before I go to my next question, I want to congratulate the whole team, though. What you did in Ukraine from 2014 till now, most people do not know about it. You were training Ukrainians how to defend themselves, how to organize. Can you touch on that a little bit, General Clark? Because this is an unheralded part of what America did. I give credit to Ukrainians for fighting hard and putting their hearts and souls into this fight, but we were helping with that training. If you could touch on that, I'd be grateful.
Yes, sir. Our special operations forces help develop and work with other allies to come into Ukraine and help build up the Ukrainian special operations forces, where during that time they doubled in size. But I would say they also not just increased their size, but they increased their capabilities over that time. And it was the collective organizations that did that. And I think we also got to give credit to some of the National Guard forces that were also training the Ukrainians at the same time. But I think one aspect is that it was a lot of our civil affairs, our psychological operations, and our special forces that were also working side by side with the Ukrainians. So it wasn't just a combat forces, but it was also other parts of special operations that worked very closely with their Ukrainian partners.
I think this is a point of pride for our country, the great work that you did. Your number 2 unfunded requirement is the procurement of counter unmanned aerial vehicles to counter the UAVs. And I think this is critical. We're seeing them all over the world. They're attacking Saudi Arabia, they're attacking us in Iraq. What does it mean for you to have this capability or to not have this capability if we don't get it funded?
Thanks for bringing this one up, because as you just pointed out, the threat from unmanned aerial systems from our adversaries is already here, and it's growing. And the capabilities that we, as a nation, need to continue to develop for in the combat zones today, where some of our forces are being attacked, to places in the future where they could be used that could even come back into our homeland. Mm-hmm. And I think we have to look very hard as a nation in making sure that we put efforts into this. SOCOM already has a significant investment in this portfolio, but as you note, we have asked for additional funding in our unfunded requirements list to ensure that we're developing the capabilities, and we can, as I said earlier, our unfunded requests, speed them up so that we can make sure that we have the capabilities we need today.
Thank you. I think this is something we can work on as a committee to make happen. Thank you.